The theme of our lesson is contextual teaching method. Contextual learning is a form of active learning designed for use in higher education, focused on the professional training of students and implemented through the systematic use of the professional context, gradual saturation of the educational process with the elements of professional activity. The concept was developed by Verbitsky. Contextual learning is based on the theory of activity, according to which the assumption of social experiments is carried out as a result of active based activity of the subject. The following principles are embodied in it. The first, personality activity, problematic, the unit of training and education, sequential modeling in the forms of education activity of students, of the content and the condition of professional activity of specialists. Particular attention is paid to the implementation of a gradual step-by-step transition of students to the basic forms of activity of a higher rank from educational activities of an academic type of professional activities and further to educational and professional activities. The content of contextual learning reflects two most important characteristics of this type of learning. The first is the subject of learning from the very beginning and is placed in an activity position, the subject of which gradually turns from a pure educational into a practical, professional one. The second, the requirements of the past of professional activity turn out to be system forming. They set the contextual principles of building and deploying not only individual academic disciplines, but also the content of the entire training of a specialist at a university. It is important to keep in mind that it is necessary to design not only the subject content that ensures the professional competence of the specialist, but also the social content that ensures the ability to work in team, to be organizer of production. Most often speaking about the content of an activity, they mean subject and social content. The subject content of an activity is an activity for the development of knowledge, skills and the experience of professional activity sets using the system of educational tasks, models and situations in accordance with the training goals and qualification of a specialist. The social content of activity is an activity in the system of interaction between participants in educational process in accordance with the aspects, norms of social relation and the actions. The teaching of general education disciplines is proposed to be interpreted in the context of professional activity, departing in this form of academic presentation of scientific knowledge. As the means of implementing theoretical approaches in contextual learning, it is proposed to fully use as active learning methods. The experience of active learning in various areas of education system provides that with the help of its forms, methods, and means, it is possible to effectively solve many problems that are difficult to achieve in traditional education, namely, the first, to give the learner's process a creative character that increases and the interest of students to form not only cognitive but also professional motives and interests. The next is educate the systemic thinking of the further specialists, including a holistic understanding of not only nature and society, but also oneself or one's place in the world. And then the fourth form a holistic view of professional activity in its large fragments. The fifth is instill in students the experience of creative activity and emotionally holistic perception of reality in the context of future professional activities. Next is to teach collective thinking and practical work to form the skills and the abilities of social interaction and the communication, individual and joint decision making, to foster responsible attitude to business, to assimilate social values and the attitudes of the professional team, society as a whole. Master the method of modeling and the social design. Learning models, the tasks and problems determine the motive and focus of each action to meet professional needs, and this should be focused on a specific profession which determines the content of all activities. In such activities, develop the ability of a person, his interests, inclinations, and as a result, professional skills. In addition to the motivational and the incentive level for resolving professionally significant problems. There is also an indicative research level which is aimed at studying the conditions of activity, highlighting the subject of activity, disclosing its properties, attracting tools of activity. At this level, as defined by psychologists, planning, programming, and the internal and linguistic organization of speech activity take place. That is the selection of means and methods of forming thoughts in the process of verbal communication is realized. Learning based on contextual approach. On the one hand, pursues the vital goals for the learner is focused on fulfilling social role of improving the personality. On the other hand, the training is built taking into account the professional, social, everyday activities of the student and his special temporal, professional, everyday factors. And the curricula are built on the basis of their possible application in life and basis of the organizing the educational process in this regard becomes the individualization of learning. The content of training is usually presented in the form of programs and textbooks and unfold in a variety of forms of activities of students and teachers.